Thank you very much, Kim. Our next speaker is Peter Cundall. One of the women who's involved with the Black Sassy Collective and worked very hard for the last 2 days actually said to me that Peter Cundall has inspired her since she was a child, and the gardening that they do at their house and the food that they live off has a lot to do with Peter Cundall. And now how grateful we are as a young community to have him standing beside us to actually stand up for the forests and fight for democracy in Tasmania, and how blessed we very are to have him in our lives in Tasmania and here tonight. So I'd like to welcome Peter Cundall.
Thank you. You know, when you think about it, coming down as I did from Launceston today and looking at this extraordinarily beautiful island, it's a mixture of absolute delight and also rage that there are people in Parliament, the major parties, who are willing to actually give this beautiful place away and allow it to be destroyed, that will actually put the profits of major corporations before Tasmania and before the Tasmanian people, before the health and well-being of the Tasmanian people. And we've got to do something about it. They are there. We have a parliament which is, let's be brutal about this, it's full of dickheads. It really is. You know, I mean, that's the only way. Yeah, I watched a little bit of the discussion when the attempt was made to repeal the Pulpwood legislation. And you couldn't believe that anybody could be so stupid, and you wonder, how on earth do they get there? You know, and the answer is, don't blame yourselves, because people say, all right, you elected them. No, really. Don't forget that when you go into a polling booth, you're faced with a list of names that are already there. There's not a little gap at the bottom where you can write in the person that you want. They've already been selected. And they've been selected by faceless committees that have decided, and they've selected on the basis, hang on, he's got a good, or she's got a good family name. They'll recognise that, you know, old Byrne, well, they should be all right. They think of old Justin O'Byrne. Justin was brilliant. He was a magnificent man. And yet people are moving in using that great name, right, and they don't do anything. I think the present minister, Michelle O'Byrne, secretly, I say to myself, I call her the Minister for Taxpayer-Funded Overseas Shopping Trips. But you've got these weird people there, you know. I was watching another bloke there, Ryan Green, you know. He's the member for a total vacancy between the ears, I think. Trying to read, you can't even read the speech that was written about for him, you know. And don't blame yourselves, right? What we've got to do is kind of break away from the major parties. There's been criticism of the Greens, you know. They said, oh, look, the Greens have joined them. Look, have you ever thought that what would happen, for example, if Nick and Cassie had said, or the others had said, no, we don't want to be part of this, right, we're going to be separate. They would have been criticised, right, for saying, look, there they are, criticising, they won't do anything when they could have done something, right. You've got to get into it. You've got to try and influence it. You've got to do something, and if necessary, you'll get a bit dirty in the process, especially when you're dealing with strange people, you know, that you've got in these major parties, right? And we've got to fight for that. And as far as I'm concerned, Tasmania is in danger, right? I mean, I've been involved, among other things, against the pulp mill. Today we find that governments are going to go it alone. They've got Buckleys. Right? It's not going to happen. It won't happen. Right? They just can't do it. But I mean, I wish somebody would put them out of their misery. Right? You know, and also liberate. It'd make a lot of people very, very happy indeed. But when you look around today, here, at this exhibition, look, this is a major part of what Tasmania and what it has to offer is really all about. It's not about destroying forests and polluting rivers and polluting the sea and destroying the atmosphere, right? Tasmania has a magnificent record of some of the most creative people on earth. It's quite extraordinary. I think it's the climate, you know. I think it's this cool climate. You see, elsewhere they lie on the beach. Here, they're either in the bedroom procreating, or writing, or painting, or doing all sorts of interesting things. But this is what it's really all about. And what Tasmania could be, it is marvellous now. The destruction has not been complete, but if you look at Tasmania, say from Google Earth, it looks like a dog with the mange, you know, where they've been getting stuck into the forest. Recovery will take place. All we've got to do is stop them. And we stop them not by complaining to each other and saying, look what they're doing now. You don't look at your navel and contemplate what terrible, terrible things are happening. You do what Jenny's done. And this little tiny group, it sounds almost insignificant, you know, from the Hue and Environment Centre. I remember reading it, I thought, who are they? This was years ago. And what incredible influence they've had, and what extraordinary courage and determination they've shown, you know, and what an inspiration you've been, Jenny, and all those that are working with you, to people all over Tasmania, because, look, they try to kind of run you down. If you have a demonstration, the cameramen are told to focus on the scruffiest looking, right? Someone that looks like they've never had a bath for years. You know, no, true, they do it. It's got the cameramen, they say, we've got to do it, Pete. You know, they've got rings and God knows what hanging out their noses and ears, right? They look weird, and they're supposed to be the typical one. But Jenny mentioned, and I've got to say this, and it is important, she said that look at the crowd here tonight. It's a lot different than the crowd she was faced up with a couple of weeks ago, where Jenny and others were faced with a very angry mob. And what I've got to say is this, and it might seem almost strange. The people who are so angry, they're angry because they've been betrayed. They've been betrayed, they've been led up the garden path, their contractors have been induced or persuaded to buy expensive equipment. Right? They have been betrayed and they're angry, and we can expect that anger. I can copy it, Jenny can copy it, she doesn't like it, right? But that's anger of people who have been betrayed, because if you know anything about the people who work in the forest industry, and I've known them for years, they're decent people, right? But they're angry because they feel that their livelihood is slipping away. But they are people, and they are, to my mind, with this dangerous work, the most exploited people in Tasmania, and always have been, you know. I mean, and this is the way I look at it. The real culprits are in Parliament. They're the ones that sold out, and they've sold out to major corporations. They've got this idea in their head that basically, if we can attack a major corporation and have a bloody great pulp mill, right, we're all going to be rich. You know, we're all going to be successful. It's not going to work, right? Now, I've been here. They have to come here to launch this show. Forgive me for being a little bit diverted, right? But I mean, this is the things that I think of all the time, and what I'm pleading with you to do, that if you've got any influence with your friends, your neighbours, and we have a rally, and we have a get-together, get out there, right, and fight, because the only thing that makes politicians do anything is when there's a mob, an angry mob, breathing down their neck, right? And that's what we've got to do, and we've got to get out there, because the real strength of Tasmania is always with the people, right? And most of the Tasmanian people, the overwhelming majority, are decent, honest people who just want a good life for themselves and their children. And this is part of the good life. And on those final notes, I now declare the blooming thing open.
That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Peter and Kim. And please enjoy your evening. See you.